Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today's video, I just want to carry on making some ephemera elements to add to our journal. So I have finished the envelopes and glued them closed again, and then that flap is ready just to wrap around a page as a potential a tuck in the journal. This one is closed and the card that was attached to that is also finished and stitched around, so I've just sat that there. The card is complete for that first envelope, so that's ready to go. So we'll attach them to the journal when we're ready at the end, so I'll just pop that in my tray. Now, this little piece of paper was left from when I did the envelope, and that's exactly its size, so I just popped some paper on the back, put some calico on there, and before I glued the calico, I did 2 lines of zigzag, so it looks like the zigzag is stitched through the paper, but of course it's not. So just another way of, you know, adding a little decorative trim. So that makes just a great little journaling spot. You could stitch some pages into here to make a mini journal, which I probably won't, but I might do. We'll see how we go. Now, the next thing I want to work on is, I mentioned that I think we could handle another page in the little ephemera folder because there's just so much space there. So I cut myself a piece of card. And to make it interesting, I've already glued some calico on there, and that has dried. And out of the leftover strips that were with it, I've cut a couple pockets. So we'll have a pocket at the bottom of these, and probably a pockets there. They probably need to be trimmed down a little bit so that they fit. So the next thing is to add some paper to here. So I'm just going to see what we've got. You could do calico again, but I think we'll use paper this time. The calico gives a nice finish. Maybe a pop of the blue just to break it up a little bit. So grab my glue book. So the plan is to put glue on this side of the card. I had plans for a day of crafting. I mentioned it in the last video, and I got that video filmed, and I was just about to start filming the next video, video number 4, the one you're watching, and the rain of course had been falling overnight, and we got a call from the shop to say that the rain had come into the store. So my husband and I quickly jumped in the car, and we spent the whole day trying to jerry-rig some plumbing up so that the rain doesn't continue to go into the shop, and make sure that, you know, everything is secure until we can get a roofing plumber out to fix it. So, and of course, when we spoke to our plumber, he was pretty much said, you know, until it stops raining, it's just not, oh, that's, let me just concentrate for a second. What I've done is haven't glued it far enough over, and the printed, I've done it again. Oh, goodness me. It needs to come right over. I mustn't have printed that page at the full size, so I've getting white paper come through. I need to just trim that off. Now this is going to be the little signature to go inside. Hopefully I got my measurements right, because I was doing that when we got the call to say there'd been some flooding in the store. But like I said, my husband, he's a genius. He's jerry-rigged a system that the water can fall into, and then the pipe goes out a window. So now the down pipe is not draining into the shop itself, causing flooding. Luckily, no stock was damaged because it happened in an area where it was just, you know, shop fixtures and things like that. So nothing was damaged, which is good. But best laid plans for the day. Out the door. So now it's a new day and away we go again. So hopefully I can get a couple videos made today. Just trimming this back a little bit because I want it to fit nicely within the confines of the folio. Just a little trim. Yeah, that should be okay. I just can't remember if I measured it all or what exactly happened because the phone rang and we literally dived out the door. I need to let that dry before I force that, but that should, yeah, that will work. So I'll leave that open. Now these little pockets need to be trimmed back. They don't need to be as big as that. And then they can be covered with some paper. A couple bigger ones and then a couple small ones. So we're just making more storage for bits. Especially, I probably will print some more ephemera, fussy cutting type images for her as well, just so she's got plenty to play with. And these kits that are attached to in the description down there, there's heaps and heaps of fantastic kits. Will I get the 2 of them on there? Yep. So I'll just put some glue. So that'll decorate that little pocket. You can hear Fudge bellowing again. Gee, that cat, I tell you, he's a demanding pussycat. So that will be, getting glue everywhere. That'll be 2 little pockets. So I will stitch them off camera and glue them into position. And then it will be just a case of stitching in the signature. I will do a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. Heaps of videos out there on doing that. I'm sure you'll find something if you've never experienced a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. But my guess is you will probably know. Now we've got 2 little stripy ones. Let's do blue's maybe a bit more red. Yeah, let's do. I've just had a coffee and I feel like it's just racing through my veins. I should be doing vacuuming with this energy, not crafting. I feel like I could run the vacuum cleaner around the house in record time. Okay, so there's our little pockets. So once that all dries, so good to get rid of some of these little scraps from that previous project. And now that I've got some more pockets, well, maybe I could go and have a look at Tracy Fox. Her site, Love Junk Journals, has got some labels, which are sort of generic empty labels that could be handy if you're writing a date or a place when you're journaling. So I think I have some here on my desk just to show you, if you are new, what I'm talking about. But they'd be fantastic to add to this little folio. Let's have a look at some of these little, yeah, this one. So I'll do the bigger pocket at the bottom and then the smaller one just over halfway, like that. And then I can slide into those pockets these types of labels and fill them up. Some blues and greens and things like that. So that is the plan for that. And I know in here, for example, these stamps, I might cut them down now and I can actually fit them into a pocket. There was something else I folded and put in there as well. So I've definitely got plenty more I could find to fill the pockets. Plus I could distribute some of those things a little bit more. So that will stitch into the center of that little folder. So a little bit more homework on that. So that'll pop up in the next video, having been completed. Now, the next thing I wanted to do is tear some pages for this, because I mentioned that I wanted to make it into a little journal with some extra pages. So I've just got to work out what's the most economical way to use my paper, and I think that might be so we're going to, where's my tear ruler? Oh, goodness me, where is it? Where is it? Can't be too far. I literally jumped up from the table and walked out the door and didn't get back here. So now I'm like, well, where's my tear ruler? Here it is. Here it is. So I just want to tear that in half, and the height should be fine. And then I want to tear the straight edge at the top here, so that that's looking like more of a scrappy piece of paper. Then we can tear that and that. Now let's see. So our height's good, our fold is good, and we could bring that in just so that we don't lose that. I'm going to take a little bit more off the height, just to bring it down within the confines of the little piece. That's it. Lovely. So that makes for a couple good pages. So let's do that again. This time we might do it like this. So just do a quick little check that when within the confines of the little booklet. I might dig out some antique paper too. I'm sure there's some French French paper. This one could go in the middle. And maybe we, oops. Oh, I can feel that coffee going through. This one we might make a little tuck spot. Like so. That could go into the middle. Might just fold that over to just give it a nice reinforced edge. So I might just glue. Oh look, there's so many different ways that you could tear a simple piece of paper to create a cluster of pages. Now you could cut that through there to get rid of the bulk in the folding of that page, but I'm not going to worry too much about it because it's only a little booklet and there won't be a lot of bulk there anyway. And then that will give us 2 little tuck spots. So I'm just going to put some glue through there. And now we've got 2 little pockets. I think one of these cards might fit in there. Yep, beautiful. So let's glue this side down. The more space we can give the journal to do additional writing is always good. Plus, whoever gets the journal can sort of see what we've done to create space. So little ideas like this are always good. Now let's have a look at our width on this little guy. Might do him like that. And then I'm pretty sure I have behind me some antique book page from a French book. Yep, here's one here. I might just break that down just as a little decorative. It's very fragile. I once found a letter in one of these little French books. I bought 3 or 4 of them from a lady online, and in there was a letter written, and I thought, oh, what have we got? A hidden letter. So I was really curious about it all, and I ended up taking the letter to one of our staff. He's actually French, and to see what it was, I thought, oh, something exciting. But it wasn't. It was really just a letter from an English lady to a French lady saying how her English writing was doing really well and that her letters were quite easy to read. It was just nothing. It was just a non-event. I was so hoping it was like a letter from a spy to another spy or something really exciting, but it wasn't. It wasn't. It was very boring. So I'm just mixing these up a little bit. Just a little cluster of papers. And hopefully I've got my measurements right. I'll tear that one. And that can be stitched into there to make a little booklet. So let's do that. Seeing I couldn't show you how to stitch in the extra page to the folio, I'll do it here with this, just in case you're new to all of this. Hello, Casper. Casper's just come in and giving me a bit of a smooch on my leg. I'm looking for my needle that's sharp. Here it is. And a little bit of wax thread. Okay, so everything's lined up nicely. I'll just grab my glue book so that I can poke some holes. Might just grab a bull clip just to stabilise everything, just in case it decides to wriggle on me. I'll try and get it as neat as I can. So where's my little ruler? So it's about 14 centimetres, so I'm going to put a hole at the 7 centimetre mark, or at least a little indent. And then we might come from the bottom. So this doggy's woofing at. Okay, that and that. So now I've got my holes. I can go through the middle, through the top, back down through the bottom hole, and back through the middle. As easy as that. And we have an itty bitty booklet that we can tuck into a pocket somewhere, and it could be used to make your Christmas list or just journaling, because doing a December daily, you know, there's a lot you can write about, or sometimes not much, so it's sort of to have the options of space is good. And who's to say this little journal, this mini journal, might come out and be tucked into a handbag to be carried. So I'm just knotting it, and of course the golden rule is make sure your threads go either side of that main stitch so that they are now knotting over the center. I don't cut my thread off. You can do the length 2 times. I don't cut it off. I just use what I need and then knot it and trim it. And that way I don't waste too much. Oops. Scoreboard was balanced on my bin and it's just flipped off. Okay. So now we've got a little booklet to add to our journal. Where's our little tray? We've got just a random journaling space. We've got a couple envelopes with some journal cards, and then our journal, plus our tags are ready to go, plus some extra bits and pieces. Underneath the journal is some fussy cut bits and bobs. Now what I want to do is I want to use the napkin and decorate something. I really like the birds. I don't think I'll use the Christmas tree. So I just want to see what we can do with this. Now, to get the napkin to separate, there's a few little tricks out there. Sometimes they just pull apart because they're just cheap and they fall apart. This one's a pretty good quality one. So you can use the sticky tape method where you get some sticky tape and you pull off the back layers. But another way you can do it, see all those little lumps and bumps there? That's the factory, when they made the napkin, have run a press along there to create those bumps, which locks together the layers. So what you can do, if you flatten those bumps, it immediately releases it and it just comes apart. Now I think this is a 3-ply. So once again, give it another flatten, push those bumps, and if it's going to separate, it will. And there it is, right there. So I find that's the easiest way. So you can keep that stamp on it, use it to decorate. There's all sorts of videos out there of what you can use the back of napkins for. So I'm just going to put that to one side. And now I want to break this down into some components. So what I've got here is a pen that has water in it. It's supposed to have water in it. There's a little bit there, which then makes it wet. And what you do is you just do a little line around your little bird, give it a little tug, and that weakens the napkin, and you now have your little bird. So we'll do this little guy as well. We could do a little bit of this floral. Might be good for something. So I'm just breaking it down into some morsels that can be decoupaged with. And another little bird. So you can also, if you want to get rid of that straight edge of the napkin, just give it a moisten and run your fingernails along that edge, and you'll rough it all up so it doesn't look like it's the corner of a napkin. Okay, and there's a little piece again. All right, so let's put all our little bits aside. Whether we need them all is another thing, but once again, these could go into, they could go into a little envelope for the owner of the journal to get. So what I'm thinking is we might pop this little guy in here. I just reduce it in size a little bit because I don't want to decrease the amount of space that they can write. So I'm just once again going to surgically remove any excess. Or do we use him in the journal? He's quite a large fellow. Yeah, I'm going to put him there. Change your mind. Let's get these little morsels out of the way so that we... And all I do is I grab my glue stick, sort of with my eye, work out roughly where I would need to place glue. And just add the glue, and that will be just enough to catch that napkin. And all that will dry. Any napkin that's not caught, you can always add a little bit of glue, and that'll catch it all down. It's as simple as that, which is great because if you're doing a travel journal and you want to add napkin to decorate pages and you don't want to carry, you know, PVA glue and matte medium, these are really easy way to add a little feature. Now that will dry and the glue will disappear and it'll just look just gorgeous. So I might just pop that back up there to dry. Maybe I can take the holly out of this. Just gonna have a little play here for a minute and see if I can pull out, oops, pull out that holly. I want the napkin to break there. There we go, that's got it. So we just got a hint of the holly. Get all these little bits out of my way. So I might cut that corner out. Now let's have another look at this card. Maybe the other one, it's a little bit bigger. Oop. What have I done? Have I glued that in? Goodness me, I got napkins stuck to my fingers. This one here's just got that little bit more space. So I'm going to pop that up there. And then just sneak back in and pop a little extra glue where you want the napkin to sit. This is such a quick and easy way of adding a bit of interest. Plus, when it dries, you can feel that there's something different about the paper. And it feels really nice to touch. Run your fingers along. It's all rough and textured. And being Christmas at the moment, all of the napkins are out there. So I'm always on the hunt for interesting designs that can be added to my pile of napkins. Little bird ones like this are my favourite. Okay, so let's see where else we can pop a little bird. I wonder if we could sneak one into the front of this mini journal. This little guy would be rather cute in here, so we might just rough up this edge so we don't see that it's from a square napkin. So we'll have a little nibble of that, and just along this edge here, just a little bit, without losing the beak. There we go. Lovely. I've got bits of napkin everywhere. Let's pop this little guy in here. What a sweet treat when you open up this little mini journal and here's this little cardinal looking at you. How cute. Now I decided that I wasn't going to put the fabric tabs in that envelope for them to do. I've decided I'm going to stitch them all myself and apply them to the journal so that they're done and in. So that then leaves an envelope that doesn't have a use. Let's put that little guy away. So I think what we might do is pinch that envelope back out of there, and I'm going to get that fabric out of there, and I'm going to create the tabs and actually put them through the journal. So this little envelope I think would be better used to hold all of these little birdie morsels, and then if they want to have a play, I think that's a better idea. Because the lady that's getting this is not a real hand sewer, but a glue stick is definitely a possibility, which leaves me to potentially doing something with this. So I might just layer some scrap fabrics behind it and do a few stitches on it, and it can just go somewhere in the journal. I might do something with that so it's a little morsel that can be put into the journal. And then these tabs, I think what I'll do, let me just move the journal out of the way. There's some scrap fabric. I think I will prepare all these with some stitching. So that was just a case of fold it in half. And I haven't yet stitched that pocket that we are planning for the back. So I'm just adding this calico to the back of those little patches because the fabric is thin, and this will just help give it a little bit more rigidity in my hand when I'm sewing it. Plus, when it's attached to the page as a tab, it's not going to be as soft and floppy. It's going to help give it just a little bit more strength. Plus I like how the furriness pokes out from behind the actual tabs. So that's number 2, number 3. Real simple but easily done, and just looks really nice to have all those fabrics through your journal. Okay, and I believe there's one more. Ouch, there's a pin. So this little morsel here, maybe I can do something with this juniper, create a little cluster. Just sort of put it off center a little and pop some stitches to decorate that in the same style as our front cover, so that can have something done to it. It's coming together now. So I think once I get all these bits stitched, the next stage will be to add the fussy cut elements, attach any of these extra pieces so that they have found a home to some degree. I wonder what I can do with this. I wonder if we can, I'm going to get rid of that blue line just to bring it down in size a little. Then I'm going to put it on some calico like we've been doing. And then of course I'll stitch, but then I might actually put it, once it's stitched, stick it to some cardstock to make it rigid. And then it could be a tuck. Yeah, I like that. Just do a little bit of stitching on those stars, so get rid of all those bits. So that, I can still see a little bit of that blue edge on there. Some fabric scissors would be good. That's better. So the next video, and I believe the final in the series, will be adding all of these little elements to our journal. So I'm just going to pin that onto there. Whoops, there's a thread. And then once I've done some stitching, I'll put some card on the back, and then it can be popped into the journal, have plenty of strength, and something can be tucked in behind. That's the plan. Okay, so where's my needle and thread? Where's my glue lid first? So how are we going for time? 40 minutes, so we've got a little bit of time. What do I do with my thread? There it is, up one moment. Now I've been looking at this tab here, and I'm not, yeah, no, that's all right. Not a lover of it. No, I don't like it. But that's okay, because what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to snip the thread out and remove it. Because it's glued into position, it should come out easy enough. I don't know, something about it. I think it may be the size of the thread. just didn't, I don't know, it just didn't look fine. I actually prefer it without that stitching, you know, just glued there. Yeah, I'm not going to stitch them, guys. I'm not digging how that looked. All I'm going to do is add a little glue in there, and that will grip to that because it's gripping to the paper, but that just needs to grip. I like that better. Just going to put a little extra glue there. There you go. Change the plan. That there probably needs some glue. Yep. Yeah, much better. And that can dry now. So that's the plan there. All right, so another decision made. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to rethink this and open them back up. And I'm going to get my glue book. And I'm going to glue each of these little pieces of fabric to the calico. Let that dry, and then the next stage will be gluing them onto the pages that are actually going to have them. But in the meantime, that could dry. I think it must have been because there is quite a busy design on them all. So when I did that stitching, it just, I don't know, it just didn't look right. So it's gone. And because it's into fabric and not paper, easily fixed. The little birds. Lovely. A couple more. I can't wait to pull it all together. I'd say it'll need a few more pages too, but I just don't know. I think when I give the journal to her, I might just say to her, look, it's a Midori. You can add more or you can remove. She might take to journaling like a fish to water and just needs more pages. I just don't know. Or she might find it a struggle to fill what I have put in there. So I'll just have a little chat to her when I hand her the journal and just sort of get a feel for how she's going, and then maybe check in on her and see, you know, did she want some more pages? Because I can always give her a little pack of papers to go with it as well. I probably will give her some decorative pieces, you know, like the printouts that she can use to collage with. Okay. So there's our little tabs. They'll just dry. So there's our napkin. That's drying nicely. You can hardly see the blue. And there's the little journal. How sweet is that? This one here doesn't have anything, but there's probably a piece that we could use in the fussy cut. So we'll leave it at that. They'll all dry. Put the glue away. Now let's see what we can do with this. I need my red thread that I used on the cover. Let's grab a needle and just pop a few little stitches in. I need to clean the glue off my fingers. I've gone from gluing to needlework in a split second. So I've got glue stick all over my fingers, which is never a good thing. Okay. Look, at the end of the day, you could make so much more ephemera for your journal. Grab a bag. Make a bag, pocket. Oh, there's heaps of things you could do. So what I might do is just do a running stitch across like I did on the cover to catch the two surfaces together. So I can get rid of that pin. Okay, so they're now joined. Then I might do another running stitch down here with the same thread. It won't join anything, but it'll give the impression that it is. And then I might go hunting through my scraps and maybe I can find a little crocheted element or even a button. Gee, that's crooked. Let's try that again. I might find that button and stitch a button on that one end to finish the cluster. That will certainly match the buttons that are on the beginning, at the beginning of the journal on the cover. Gosh, you could make a heap of little clusters just out of random. If you didn't want as many tabs as I've created, you could break these down into smaller elements and create some little fabric clusters too. Okay, I need to find the buttons. What did I do with them? I'm sure they were in this box. Yes, there they are. That's the box that I set up for my Journal of Stitchery project, the red book. And the blue advent calendar. I did a box for each project. I probably don't need as much thread as that. So we have our new project now to think about for the first half of the 6 months for the Roxy Journal of Stitchery. So those of you that have come across from the Stitchery group, you'll know all about this. But for those of you that come across due to the journaling, junk journal creating or journal making, the Roxy Journal of Stitchery project has been going on for a year. And the first half of the year was just general themes all put into a journal. The second half of the year was Christmas themes and some wintry themes. So depending on what you wanted to make, which was also a journal or in my case, I did a journal and some bunting, a countdown advent bunting. So now the girls have announced the next stage, which is down the garden path. So it's going to be a garden theme. And I don't know what I'm going to do. I cannot decide. The girls are going to do on a roll of a stitched piece that will have the ability to be rolled onto a, what am I trying to say? A spindle, a bobbin, a timber bobbin. You know, the ones that are about that big, like 6 inches or more. Well, the girls are going to have a long piece of fabric and do their embroidery onto that, which then rolls up onto the actual roll. So that's the one suggestion. Some ladies are considering doing wall hangings for their piece and maybe getting a piece of driftwood or something to attach their wall hanging to, which would be beautiful. I just don't know what I'm going to do. Oh, I don't know. I'm still thinking. I've been thinking for a while. just not sure. So if you're new to this Journal of Stitchery, Roxy's Journal of Stitchery, come and join us. It is the best. It really is a great way to have a play with fabrics and stitches, and the girls give us a prompt and then off we go and just see what comes of your thoughts when it comes to putting together your fabrics and laces, and this time it's going to be a real garden theme. So my guess is we're going to be stitching lots of flowers and maybe some critters that would be in a garden. I don't know. That's the fun bit. We get a prompt every 2 weeks and then off we go and do it. So all of these little slow stitchy things that I'm doing in this Christmas journal is very much part of the Roxy project. So if you're not doing anything with a needle and thread and you would like to join a fantastic group of creative people, come over and have a little look. My videos for that project appear on a Saturday and a Sunday, and during the week I do all sorts of random things, whatever takes my fancy, from a journal to, I don't know, sometimes I just go to the cupboard and pull out a project that I haven't finished from years gone by and work on that. I've got a few this year coming, 2026, that I just want to get them out of the cupboard. I'm sick of looking at them. So by bringing it into the world of YouTube with you guys, it makes me finish them. It gets me focused. I get it done. And some things probably only need, you know, well, let's say 3 episodes, 4 episodes. So 3 or 4 hours of work with a little bit of homework in between each episode for me to do, because otherwise it's boring TV. Yeah, and the project's done. And then that just surprises me that it has sat for 12 months or longer in the cupboard, and all it needed was just a day's work on it. So by dragging it into the YouTube world and sharing it with you guys, it sort of gets me focused on it. I know my red book is just needing some attention. That's a Journal of Stitchery type scenario, but everything in it is this colour, this red, these sorts of tones. And there's probably 3 or 4 little tasks to do in there and a couple blank pages that if I was just to get into it, I know it'd be done. Now what I'm going to do, now I've done that stitching, is I'm going to put some glue on this, on the back, and then attach it to this card. And that's going to allow me to tuck. I probably should have trimmed it. It's going to allow me to tuck elements behind it which aren't going to get caught on my stitching. So I should have cut that beforehand, so let's just quickly do that. It's really just to give it a bit of strength too. There we go. So now I can glue that onto a page. And that will be a fabric tuck. Okay. Let's have a look at what we've got. So they just need to be now glued into their position once they dry. So those 3 are done, and another 2. So that's 4 tabs that we have. Plus we've got a little snippet that she can use. We'll probably use to decorate. We've got a potential little tuck. This guy is dry and feeling great, and I'll put something on the front of that. I haven't done anything there yet, but we do have our little holly in there, so they're ready to go. The envelope is ready. Second envelope, We've got a little journaling spot. I do have some fussy cut bits ready to go. They're cut out, ready to do a little bit of gluing. Got to have a play myself. The numbers. Now I need to do something with those. I wonder if I've got an envelope I can find that's pre-made that we can make look Christmassy. So I'm just going to grab this little box of tricks here. You know when you print something out and you hit print and you get hundreds of pages? That's what happened with these little envelopes. I hit print and I had so many of them and I've had them kicking around for ages. I backed them all with some Calico, so they're ready to go. But I'm finally getting down to the last 2, 4, 6, 7. I probably had 40 of these things. I don't know what happened. I hit print and it just went chaotic. So I thought I might as well, you know, get them made up and they're ready to go. I'm thinking I'm going to use that to put these little goodies in. So let's get the glue. We've got a few minutes to go. And I'm going to at least get this glued and then I can add something Christmassy to it to sort of drag it into the Christmas world. So let's get that. So the next video, the final video, we'll be putting all these bits and pieces in the journal itself. So we'll be able to find, I'm sure, some words or something to add to our little bird. Now, so all of that is pretty much ready. They just need to dry. Little bird envelopes nearly ready, and I just had to hop on the sewing machine and finish this, didn't I? So it was a case of I run around that just to make it look similar to the rest, and then put some pockets inside. The other thing I could have a little look at is I could find some lace and maybe do a belly band here. Let me have a little think about that for a moment. That would work. Let's put the cover out of the way. Because I haven't sewn it yet, we could pop that there. And the sewing machine will catch it. And we can tuck things in there. Oh, those scissors are hopeless. So let's get some glue. Oh, we're nearly out of time. I think you know where I'm heading with this. Once that sewing machine grabs this in that decorative stitch around, it'll be really secure. So that can go through there like so, and then things can be slid in there, like things like these labels can sit all in that belly band. So that's the plan for that. And the other side might do the same, because it's all well and good having a tiny little pocket for little bitty things, but sometimes there's bigger things. So I think these two belly bands on the fabric side of it will be rather cute. So I'm just smooshing some glue. That will just hold it. If I give that 15-20 minutes to dry, I can then come through with my sewing machine and that will not be going anywhere. So there we go. All right, so I'm going to stitch around the outside when that's dry, pop in the pockets, and then I'm going to stitch that into that spine like so, as additional spaces for bits and pieces, and then I can fill it with some, you know, random elements. I might, being that I'm going to gift this with bits and pieces to use, I might even have to go looking for some more little decorator elements, because I'd hate to use a heap of them and then there's none left in this little folder. So I'll have to look into that as well. Okay, everyone, that's the hour. There's an hour gone. Like, unbelievable how quick this goes. So the only homework I really have to do before the next video is finish this little one off and attach that, and then we've got our little folio. Then we can add these goodies to the journal and have a little play, and we are ready. Okay, everyone, look after yourselves, have a lovely day, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye for now.